Negative space in photography is defined as the area surrounding the main subject in a photograph which is left unoccupied. It helps draw the eye to the main subject of the photograph and doesn't detract the viewer in any way whatsoever. It's not in all photographs, and it is a creative choice by the photographer. It can be created by the use of a single color occupying a big area in the photograph, an area out of focus, or something that frames the subject or part of that subject, takes up a big proportion of the photograph, but doesn't detract away from the main subject. The object of negative space is not to distract the viewer, but to help them look at that subject. The easiest way to work out if you have negative space in your photograph is to think about where your eye roams around in the photo. If it's drawn to an area in the photograph, this generally won't be negative space. On the other hand, if you feel like your eyes really don't want to go to that part of the photograph, then this could be negative space. And this isn't set in stone either. It's really subjective and could be construed as a sliding scale of negative space. Now, this first example is of a beach in Bournemouth on the south coast of England. My eyes follow the lights along the walkway, head towards where the sun is going to rise, then they're drawn down to the pebbles on the beach. And then they head up to the moon and then to the few stars that you can actually see. So the sky could be seen as negative space, but I don't think it's that strong, as the few visible stars do invite your eyes to mingle around that blue sky. This next one of a mountain range in New Zealand is a little bit stronger. My eyes go straight to the peaks, then to the reflection, but because there are a few faint clouds in that sky, my eye does then sort of mingle around that sky. So it does detract a little bit from that main subject. Also, the color of the negative space will have an impact on how strong it is. This one of my mum, sister and wife hiking has quite a plain sky. But because it's bright and almost white, the color does draw the eye up a little bit. And as there are slightly different shades of gray in the clouds just above the three people in the shot, my eye does still mingle around that sky. So I wouldn't say that this is true negative space. Now, this next one has a much stronger negative space in it. For me, my eyes follow the line of the boats towards the brighter buildings on the right hand side. But because there's nothing in the foreground, my eyes are really detracted from even looking in that area of the photograph. And for me, this is the true definition of negative space. If you really feel like your eyes don't want to go to that part of the image, that's basically what negative space is. Now, the darker the color and the less texture and detail, the more powerful the negative space tends to be. This is not to say that you can't use different colors, but generally the darker the color and the less brightness there is in a part of the image, the less likely the viewer is to look at that part of the image. With this next shot of a drop of water, my eye looks at the starburst and the drop, and then explores the ripple on the surface. But then it really doesn't want to go, or it doesn't really need to look at the background. So this photo also has a strong area of negative space in that background. Now, even when the color is really dark, if there are distractions in that negative space or in that darker area, it takes away from its purpose as negative space, but doesn't necessarily make it a bad photo, just different. For instance, in this photograph, drops of water have splashed up. Some are closer to the camera and out of focus, and some are further away and out of focus. So there's lots of different sizes and shapes of blobs and globules of that light being refracted through them. Now, because of these, my eye wants to explore that dark space and look at all of these different interesting elements in the shot. So I wouldn't consider the dark area in this photograph to be negative space at all. Silhouetting or framing is another way to create negative space. In Petra, as you walk towards the treasury, you slowly get to see the carving in the cliff face. And with the right settings in your camera, you can use the cliffs to frame part of the building. So in this photograph, there is nothing to see in the dark areas of the cliff, and this is negative space. It doesn't distract or it doesn't take your eye away from it, and it just frames and it makes you even more concentrated on that small part of the building front. Now, this is very subjective, and these are only my thoughts. You might think differently, and that's fine. Let me know in the comments if you do think differently, or let me know what you think about negative space. It'd be great to hear your thoughts. And if you like this video and want to learn more, click on this video next. Or if you're a binge watcher like me, click down here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for 2 new videos a week. I'll see you next time.